Alright, so of course today we are going to work on Dani, and I've got her started already. You can see that I've painted her body. I thought that I was going to make that her sleeves, but I've decided to go ahead and actually make a real sleeve out of some cloth. So that's all going to get covered up. But and of course I've started the hair, and the glue's still wet, so I'm going to let her lay here overnight so that glue is completely dry before I try to pull on this and style this. And it's a little dark for what Dani's hair is, but I'm going to fix that later on. But I've already got that much done. Um, and then I've got all my fabrics laid out here. I'll have to decide which color of orange to use to make her dress. Um, Now, her pumpkin bucket, I lost that little pumpkin, so I had to go find another one. And this one's missing the handle, but that's okay because I was probably going to replace the original handle anyway. I want it to have like a little black wire handle like the originals. And I've already made her little hat, which I didn't film any of this, but it's just a simple little witch's hat. This is just a cone cut out of some poster board that I've covered in some black cotton fabric, and then just cut out a little circle for the brim. And then I've put this little piece of tulle on here and put some little polka dots on it like in the colors that she had in the movie. So that turned out pretty cute. And it looks kind of silly right now because her hair's so big, but of course I'll get all that fixed up a little bit better. But so far that's all I've got done to her. And like I said, in the morning I will try to finish her up, get her hair fixed and all that. And also, while I'm sitting here waiting for that, I will go ahead and have her little outfit cut out. So when I come back, I'll already have all her little stuff cut out. We just have to dress her and put all the little props together. And there is one more little prop I want to make for her other than her hat and her bucket. And I've just got to find something to make it out of. I don't know if I have anything like I'm wanting or not, but I'll show that. That'll be the last thing I make for the video, but so far that's what I've got, and we'll just get back to her in the morning. Alright, so this is where I am now, and as you can see, I have redone the hair. I had to take off what I had before because that was just way too much, and so I just took it off, and I've glued it on a little bit less this time. And of course I'm still in the process of letting that dry, so that I don't pull it off while I'm trying to style it. So I'll fix the hair last, but the paint, you can see the paint does not want to stick to that plastic body. But I've went ahead and wrapped some of this fabric around her arms and a little piece around her neck so that her neck doesn't show. And I've wrapped around some pieces of fabric for her pants. And of course, it doesn't matter if this little part is covered up because her skirt will hide that. And, you know, once I make her little top, it will hide the rest of this. You're not going to see most of that black. But then her skirt is just a little piece of fabric, and I've just decorated that with some ribbons and some little dots of paint. So I just got to put this on her and then make her a little top, which I'll do that off camera, but when I come back I'll decorate it. And then of course I'm really nervous about the hair. I'm just not really good at trying to style hair, but hopefully this will come together and look right, you know, the way I'm visioning that. But I've still got to just wait on that glue. But I think she's going to look pretty cute once it's all done and comes together. And now I have put some little orange sleeves over the black sleeves, kind of the same way, just wrap them around and glue them. And I'll go through and get these little bitty threads picked off the edge, because where it's not hemmed, it's wanting to fray, but I'll snip those off and put a little fray check on them or something later. But then the top is basically like a little poncho. I'm just going to glue it down to the shoulders like this. And I'm going to do that first to where I can get that angle. Because if I pull it straight down, you're going to have this little piece flipping up. And I think it'll be easier to glue that little flipped up piece first. And then once that's glued, you can bring these sides in and glue them down. I just think it'll be easier to glue the shoulder first, so you don't have to fool with that little, glue the shoulder first, because if you glue the side first, you're just going to have that annoying little piece sticking up there. So I'm going to glue that first and then tuck it under her arms. And it's a little bit long, but here in a little bit I'm going to be cutting out some little triangles at the bottom. All right, so let's talk about the scarf. She's got this little scarf that's got all these little strings hanging off of it. So the way I've figured, hopefully it'll work, is I have cut a black yarn that you can see here. And then I've just tied these colors that I like around that one black piece. And then here in a little bit, when I'm done making this as long as I want it, I'm going to cut these off really, really short, and then fray. Like once I get them cut, I'll fray the ends of them to make them fill up a little bit more. So hopefully this will work. I've just kind of staggered the colors: yellow, orange, brown, black. And so my main string is the black one, and I'm just tying those around the black one, and then just pull them down. And then I'm probably going to have a little space in between them because I don't want it too full. I don't want it to look like like a feather boa. So I'm going to try to just space them apart. Hopefully this will work. I'm going to trim it up, fray those little ends, and see what that looks like. And I've got one more piece here I'm going to put on. I started with a black piece, so I'm going to end with a black piece. But I'll get this cut up and see how it looks. And I made a bad mistake earlier. I was going down through here snipping these, and I actually snipped the wrong one, and the scarf was like this little. I just cut the wrong string, so you got to be very careful when you're cutting those little strings, because with some of them being black, that's where I made the mistake. I cut the wrong black one, so had to start completely over. But anyway, I'll get this started, or get this cut, and come right back. All right, now I got that little scarf done, but I'll show that at the end once I get it all put together. Now with her little top, I got that glued down like I was showing, and I just put some little decorations on there. They're not really great, but they look doable. I'm happy with how they look. They could have been better, but I think it's good for what it is. I've got the little zigzags cut at the bottom, and you can see I've rolled up a piece of paper around her so that I could paint that, because I actually painted the orange, and of course I didn't want to get that on her skirt, so I put that paper there, and then finished that up. So I just gotta style her hair, finish her little bucket. I need to just find a little piece of wire to make a handle. And of course I got to paint her little lips. So I'll just do these little small things, get her all put together, and then we'll take a look and check out how she looks. And oh yeah, and then like I said, there's one little prop that I want to make. So I'll get her all put together, and then I'll make that last little prop. All right, so that little accessory that I was going to make is her tiny little witch lollipop. And I've got it painted a chocolate brown right now. And this might be the world's tiniest little witch sucker. It's like it would actually fit on my thumbnail. That's how little this is. Um, but I've got it painted brown. I got a little tiny white stick in it, and I'm just waiting for that to dry so that I can paint those tiny, tiny little details in there. But I just so excited. I got this cut out and got this painted and got it to this point, and I just was so excited about this. I can't wait to get the colors painted on it, so that's what I'll do as soon as it's dry. All right, so here's my little Dani, and she's actually been the hardest one to do. For some reason, I had to redo her shirt, I had to redo the pants, I had to redo the sleeves, I had to redo the hair, um, I had to redo the scarf. I mean, it's just like just about everything but the hat and the skirt had to be redone. I didn't have any problems with the hat. I've made tons of hats, witches' hats through the years. So that was pretty simple. And the little lollipop that I've got made, it was pretty easy. But yeah, she was definitely the hardest. I don't know why, but I do love how she's turned out. I'm just gonna throw her little stuff on as she's spinning around. Um, so there's how she looks, and that's kind of how we see her through most of the movie. And her little scarf, it's a little funky. It's a little big, I guess, but it's hard to make something like this in this scale. And then there's her little hat. Her hat don't really fit perfect, but it's cute. She's probably not going to be displayed with it a whole lot anyways. Um, and then here's her little bucket. I've added a little black handle to that, and I put some little beads in there to represent some candy. Um, but of course, I finally got her hair done. I've added a little more details to the little shirt. Um, and I was trying to think of what else to really mention. Oh, yeah, I've got a little watch. If you can notice her little watch over there. Um, oh, and of course, the best part about this, I'm actually going to take her hat off because I just think she shows up better without the hat. But I absolutely love this tiny little witch sucker. That just turned out so good. And it's got the chocolate color on the back. And then I've got the front of it painted. And this is so tiny. I mean, you can see on the tip of my finger how small that is. And I didn't have any problem making this at all. But I put a little spot in her hand where she can hold this. So she can hold her little sucker. She usually holds it up a little more. There you go. But I think she's turned out super cute. But speaking of the witch sucker, I noticed there's another YouTuber that has posted a video of making the actual suckers in like real life suckers, like real candy suckers, using that same mold. And last year, or maybe the year before last, I bought the candy mold for that sucker. So I've got that. And last year, I actually made some, but I made these out of clay, and I painted those to look the way they look in the movie. And I've made several of those. I think I made about 4 or 5 of those. And I've just got them as decoration for Halloween. But also, um, this one is plastic. This is actually a decoration from, I guess, the 70s. It's just a little plastic witch. And it's, as you can see, it's that same witch mold like in the movie. Um, So I don't know if a lot of people even realize it, but you can just Google this or like look it up on eBay, like decoration, like vintage plastic. I can't remember how I searched it to find it, but there's tons of these on eBay. So if you're wanting to make one just as a prop, these little plastic ones will work really good. And I've just glued a sucker stick to that. But yeah, I think you just have to type in like vintage cake decoration, like witch cake decoration, because I think you like stuck them in the top of a cake or a cupcake. But anyway, I've got those, and I'm just crazy about that little tiny one that I've made for the witch or for the little dollhouse. And just look at the size compared to the real thing. I'm just like obsessed with that little tiny witch. And I mean, every time I think I've made something really that's my favorite, I thought that my spell book was my favorite, but and it probably still is, but this little sucker is like a really close tie with my little spell book. I'm just so in love with how that's turned out. But I've took some really cute pictures of her, so I'm just gonna flip over now to the picture part of my video so y'all can check out how some of the pictures look.